Welcome to the Finely Tuned Infrastructure Podcast by Rhythmic Technologies.
Great to be here.
Our goal is to help you get a rapid, but really thorough understanding of some pretty complex topics.
Especially when it comes to managing IT infrastructure the right way.
Exactly. And today we're focusing on one specific source. It's a blog post from Rhythmic called Why MSP Onboarding Takes 90 Days and Why Faster is Worse.
I love that title. It really sets the stage.
It does. So our mission here is to pull apart that structure. Why 90 days? It sounds like a long time.
It does, but it's not arbitrary.
And for you listening, we want to show you what absolutely has to happen in that window so you don't just, inherit a huge mess of technical debt.
Right. That 90 days, it's the minimum time you need to go from being operationally blind to having complete control. We're going to walk through their exact timeline.
The three phases.
The three phases, yeah.
Right.
And we'll focus on why it's structured this way, why they front load all that discovery, because cutting corners, well, that's where the risk comes in.
Okay, let's jump in. Phase 1, days 1 through 7. The blog post calls this critical coverage, which I found interesting. Not complete coverage.
Yeah.
Why make that distinction? I mean, if you're a new client, you want everything covered from minute 1, right?
You absolutely do, but trying to do that is, frankly, a mistake. In that first week, the only goal is situational awareness. You have to get your eyes on the environment.
You can't afford to be perfect.
No, you can't spend 2 weeks building the perfect monitoring setup while some critical system is, about to fall over. The number one priority is making sure the team isn't blind.
So what are the concrete steps then? How do you stop the blindness in just 7 days?
It's a bit of a sprint, really. It's all about essential intelligence gathering.
Okay.
So they'll roll out immediate monitoring, but it's temporary. It's just for the obviously critical systems.
Those things that would cause an outage today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the team is doing a full inventory of every single AWS account, every resource, all the key integrations.
So it's like a mapping exercise and emergency triage happening all at once.
That's a great way to put it. Then you have to get environment access for the whole team, which can be its own challenge.
I can imagine.
But the real foundational step here is enrolling everything in their core governance tools and getting that basic monitoring infrastructure set up.
Why is that so important right at the beginning?
Because it means when you move into the next phase, the deep audit, you're not working off some spreadsheet that's already out of date. You have live data.
I see. So you're establishing a perimeter, getting some basic visibility. The blog really hammers this home, that the coverage is incomplete, but the key is the team is not blind.
Not blind. You've stabilized the patient.
Now you can do the full diagnostic scan.
And that scan is intense.
Which takes us to the next phase, days 8 through 30. This feels like a huge shift. You go from just seeing what's there to figuring out what should be there.
This is where the truth comes out. It's the most rigorous part of the whole process.
The truth often hurts.
It does. If that first week was defensive, this period is all strategic. The single biggest thing they do here is run well-architected reviews on all the production workloads.
And why is that the main event?
Because that defines the future. It moves the whole conversation away from just firefighting and toward planning for deliberate, stable growth.
Hold on, I have to stop you there.
Yeah.
A full, well-architected review across an entire complex infrastructure in just over 3 weeks. That sounds incredibly aggressive.
It is.
Aren't you risking just a superficial checkbox exercise to hit a deadline?
That's a fair question, and it's exactly why the process is structured this way. The team is hyper-focused. They aren't building anything yet. They are only auditing.
Okay, so it's all hands on deck for assessment.
All hands. And at the same time, they're doing deep security audits, specifically on CloudTrail.
CloudTrail. Why is that so fundamental at this stage?
It's your forensic baseline.
Yeah.
You have to know not just what's configured, but who configured it and when. It's essential for compliance, for spotting policy drift.
Or even insider threats, I guess.
Absolutely. If you don't know the history of who touched what, you can't trust the present.
So CloudTrail is the audit trail. The well-architected review is the blueprint. What other big risks are they looking for?
The existential ones, backup coverage. They audit it across every single data repository. The blog points out that for so many clients, this is a huge silent liability.
Forgotten databases, missing data sources.
You got it. Then they do vulnerability scans and review the whole patch management process or lack thereof.
And all of this work, it culminates in one thing.
The moment of truth, comparing what exists to what should exist.
And the blog has a great line here. It says, the gap is usually alarming.
That's putting it mildly sometimes. You are basically quantifying years of neglect and technical debt in just 22 days.
So the deliverable out of this phase is the baseline review and a prioritized roadmap. It's not a suggestion list. It's the mandatory path forward based on all that data.
It is the foundational document for everything that comes next.
And as soon as that's agreed on, the real work
The
begins.
heavy lifting, yeah.
That brings us to days 31 through 90. The final 60 days of the onboarding. This is the big implementation phase, taking that alarming gap and turning it into a stable, secure system.
Exactly.
So if the first month was all about finding the problems, why does it take a full 2 months to fix them? The client knows things are urgent now. Why not move faster?
Because you can't just run around patching things. If you do that, the same problems will just pop up again next month. This isn't about patching, it's reconstruction.
You have to build the foundation first.
You have to. The focus is all on standardization and security hardening. It starts with something that sounds simple, aggressively tagging every single resource.
Why start with tagging?
Because the blog points out that bad tagging is probably the #1 reason for surprise cloud bills and just general operational chaos. You can't govern what you can't see and categorize.
Makes sense. What about the monitoring and security side during these 2 months?
So for observability, they're installing Datadog agents everywhere, reconfiguring container pipelines. You're moving from basic health checks to real application performance monitoring.
And setting up custom alerts based on actual behavior.
Right, not just generic ones. And then there's the security stack.
Yeah, the blog lists a whole bunch of tools. AWS Control Tower, IAM Identity Center, Guard Duty, Security Hub. It's a lot. What's the strategy there? Why all of them at once?
Because they work together as a system for unified governance. It's not a checklist.
Okay, break that down for us.
So think of it like this. Control Tower gives you the automated guardrails for your multi-account setup. IAM Identity Center locks down access, makes it centralized and secure.
Right.
Guard Duty is your threat detection engine. It sees bad things happening. But the really critical piece is Security Hub. Security Hub is the enforcer. Guard Duty might find an issue, but Security Hub makes sure that finding is actually acted on consistently everywhere. By setting them all up together, you're building a security floor that all future work automatically inherits.
So it's about preventing problems before they even happen.
That's the goal. It's not a checklist. It's an interconnected system.
And the blog mentions one more thing in this phase. Documentation.
The unsung hero. SOPs, runbooks, dependency maps. That's what validates all the work that was just done.
So by day 90, the environment is rebuilt, it's standardized, it's secure. Which leads to this really bold claim in the blog.
I know the one you mean.
That by the end of the 90 days, Rhythmic expects to know the client's infrastructure better than the client does.
And that's the whole point. That's the value. You can only get to that level of intimacy because you spent the first 30 days figuring out what is this supposed to be before you spent 60 days building it.
So let's talk about the payoff. It's day 91. What happens now? What are the tangible benefits for the client after all that work?
The whole posture shifts. You become proactive instead of reactive. The blog says fixes are now in place before the client even knows something broke.
Because the automated systems catch it.
They catch it at the root. But there's a strategic shift, too. You can finally answer big strategic questions intelligently. Questions like, should we move this to serverless? Or can we adopt this new technology? You have the data and the architectural context to make a real decision.
And new deployments are safe from the start?
Yes. Anything new automatically gets all the monitoring, the backup, the security configurations that were just built. And because of that governance stack, Rhythmic knows immediately if a critical AWS security issue affects you, often before the public advisories are even widely circulated.
And that brings us right back to the title of the blog post. This is why faster is worse.
Absolutely.
If you skip any of these phases, if you rush the assessment or the standardization, you're just kicking the can down the road. You're accepting all that risk for a little bit of short-term speed.
The structure is the lesson. Real control isn't about how fast you can start answering alerts. It's about the depth of that discovery and the rigor of that standardized baseline you build. That's what creates stability.
That's a fantastic summary of the framework. It really changes the way you think about what a successful MSP transition should look like.
A lot to walk through it.
A final thought for everyone listening based on this. If any infrastructure partner, current or potential, tells you they can do a full transition and get you to a stable baseline in just 30 days, you have to ask them which of these critical phases they're skipping. because you can be sure you'll be the one inheriting the debt they leave behind.
That's the question to ask.
Thank you for joining this deep dive. And just a quick note for everyone, this conversation was actually generated using AI, and it was based on that blog post from Rhythmic Technologies.
It's a great read.
It is. If you want to check out the full original post and see more of Rhythmic's insights, you can find it all at rhythmictech.com.